Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to thank Teresita Bastida Saran, Chair of the Human Relations Committee, for her kind invitation to speak at one of our township's most important events, Diversity Day. There is much discussion and planning that deals with an event of such importance, so I would also like to recognize the numerous volunteers on this committee that strive to make a day such as this a memorable one. I was surprised to learn that there are 62 different nationalities in Lawrenceville represented here today, and out of a population of about 33,000 people. With a quarter being open space, our 4,000 acres is truly a melting pot of tradition, language, and customs. A truly diverse demographic. Diverse, a word that I will use many times as I speak to you today. Yes, our young people grow up with their own origins, but some ideals still ring true in them all. A respect for our township, the police and fire departments that ensure their safety, a respect for the educational system that endeavors to teach them the fundamentals to succeed in life, a respect for each other, hopefully taught at an early age, that will make better individuals to strive and make the most of everything that they choose to be. A diverse population is a proud population. Teachings of values, morals, principles, and ideals are instilled at an early age. Subsequently, a belief in acceptance and toleration are ingrained in their own attitude and behavior. Coping skills are important in today's society, and a diverse upbringing makes one more aware of their surroundings to succeed when obstacles are sometimes put in the way. 1/4 of Lawrence Township's total population is foreign-born, and I truly believe that this is one of the better aspects of the community. My wife is a first-generation Hungarian, with both of her grandparents and father were born outside the United States. 3 out of 4 of my grandparents were born in Italy and Sicily and immigrated to Trenton and Eldridge Park. Speaking of Eldridge Park, from the early 1900s to the beginning of World War II, that area of Lawrence had the most nationalities represented in the community. On every street, you encountered the customs, language, and the aroma of diverse types of food being cooked. You could probably ring the doorbell of every other home and a delicious different treat would come your way. So Diversity Day is truly a celebration of our past, present, and hopefully our future. It was a pleasure to have Dr. Wong, President of Mercer County Community College, here today on this important day. I would also like to thank the various restaurants and sponsors who supplied the food for this event. Their generous support is very much appreciated. Our diligent police department for their presence, and the hula dancers from the Senior Center, a group I have numerously enjoyed. I would also like to thank the other volunteers not associated with the Human Relations Committee for their support and dedication to Diversity Day. Lastly, I would like to thank the Lawrence Township Public Schools for the use of the high school and the janitors who so graciously clean up after this event. So as Mayor of Lawrence Township, representing our residents, I would like to applaud another successful Diversity Day, and I look forward to being with you next year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Maffey. And now we're going to hear from our Mercer County freeholder, Pat Colavita.
Well, good morning, everyone. Well, it's now afternoon, so I hope you're enjoying the food. But I was the one who grew up in Eldridge Park. My grandfather came to Lawrence Township in 1904, and we all went to Eldridge Park School. I went to the junior school, and at that time, we did not have a high school in Lawrence Township. Anyway, the strength of our community, as David said, is in its diversity. And we know how many different populations live here. And we know that that forms a very strong cultural tie to one another. So I wish you well on this Diversity Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Colavita. All right, in just a moment, we're going to bring up Dr. Wang from Mercer County College, who just within the last year, I believe, became the new president and only the 6th president at Mercer County College. And she's got quite an interesting story to tell, growing up in communist China, where education for women was not necessarily something that was a priority. And so she had to pursue a lot of it on her own. And let me give you an idea of what she went after. So she got her Bachelor of Arts degree in English from China's Hangzhou University, and then went on to get her Master's of Arts degree in English Literature, and was the first female from her hometown to earn such a degree. She went on to a top university in China, which is frequently referred to as the Chinese Harvard, and actually went on to get her Master's of Education degree from Harvard. From there, she actually got her Educational Leadership PhD from Fielding Graduate University, which I believe is out of Santa Barbara, California. Yep. And we're all doing this while supporting her 2 children as a single mom. So I don't believe no is in Dr. Wang's vocabulary. So big round of a welcome for Dr. Wang, our newest Mercer County College Community President.
Thank you very, very much. Good afternoon. Are you all having fun yet? Great, great, great. Thank you for having me this afternoon. As David said, I'm new. I'm not only new to Mercer County, this is my second home. My first home is China. But this is a sweet home. A very sweet home that provided me with opportunities that my first home did not. I was born to my parents. My mother went to work at age 13, so her 2 brothers could go to school. She never went to school herself. So she remains illiterate today. My father only graduated from middle school. And my parents had me as their first child. My grandmother on my father's side, who had 8 boys, did not think having a girl was a good thing. So I was a big disappointment to the family when I was born. So my grandma told my mother, you have to redeem yourself. So my mother gave birth to the second child. Unfortunately, it was another girl. So my mother had a C-section for the second baby. I'm not surprised. She probably was frightened, couldn't have a natural delivery. When she woke up, her baby girl was gone. My grandmother took the baby girl and gave the baby girl away. So my mother, till the day she died, they never spoke. My grandmother, my mother never spoke. They could not make up. 6 years later, my mother tried to redeem herself again with her family and gave birth to a baby boy. So I became the little mother for my younger brother. Till this day, I go back to China, my friends always ask me, how's your little brother? Now, the little brother is 50 years older man. So, but when I finished high school, my parents found me a job in a factory across the street and told me, now you go to work, you get a job, you get married, you have children, you take care of us. Your life is perfect. So that was my life. I went to the factory. I was very lucky, very, very lucky. And for those of you sitting in the front of the young generation, you listen up. Find yourself a good mentor. Someone cares about you. Your life will never be the same. I went to work for this man. He was the only college-educated employee of a factory of 680 people. And during the break, we get one break in the morning, one break in the afternoon. Everybody else will pull the chairs together and sort of gossip of what they did the day before, etc. I will read anything, newspaper, flyers, or whatever. I love reading. But during the year I grew up, it's a cultural revolution year between 1966 to 76. No print materials, no books, nothing was available other than Mao's Red Book. How many of you remember Mao's Red Book? A lot of you. The little book, you know. And how many times can you read the same thing? Over and over and over. So when we finish reading, we sing songs. They make them songs. So I sing songs, I dance to that. I was born out of my brain. I need to do something. So I'm always looking for something to read. So that mentor in the factory paid attention to me. So one day, he pulls a chair next to me and he sat down to me and says, what are you going to do for the rest of your life? I said, my mother told me I'm going to work here, get married, have children, take care of them. That's the rest of my life. What are you asking for? He said, no, that's not for you. You should go to college. And I'm thinking, go to college? Are you serious? My parents made it very clear. My little brother was going to go to college. I was going to go work, just like she did. She worked as a textile factory worker from age 13 till she retired to support her two brothers. So she expected me to do the same. Unfortunately, my brother didn't want to go to college. You couldn't make him study. He liked to play soccer and basketball and date girls. That was his passion, her big thing. And so I want to go to college. My parents didn't want me to go. He didn't want to go. They forced him to go. Till this day, my parents still believe it was my fault that he never went to college because I didn't push him hard enough. So my master told me, if you want to go to college, I can help you. I said, how? My parents are going to find out if I'm reading books, and they won't let me use the light after 8 o'clock. I had to turn off the light because electricity is expensive. So he said, I can arrange. So he arranged for me to work from 4 p.m. to midnight in the factory where there was no work. But he said, now you will be alone. And you can use the electricity all you want. And you can read all you want. And he gave me his textbooks, so I didn't have to buy, because my parents won't give me the money. So the day before I have to go take the national entrance exam, I have to confess to my parents that I am going to take the test. So my mother said, no, you're not going. And I start to cry. I'm a little girl. Do you throw temper tantrum when you don't get your way? Sure, right? I did the same thing. I just scream, I kick, I cry. And finally my father said, all right, let her go. She's not going to make it. Once, okay? You try once, and if that doesn't work, you shut up, you stay, and you work, and that's it. I don't want to hear no more. And I said, okay. So I went to the test. I was so nervous. I had to take 6 tests in 3 days, morning, afternoon, morning. And I chose to major in English, and I'll tell you in a minute how I got to do that. So when it came to the English test, I forgot to write my name on the test. So I did okay in other 5 tests, I guess. I was called into a broadcasting second interview. No idea. You know, I want to go to English, but since I didn't write my name on the English test, no one could get my score. So I was called for the broadcast. The day I was supposed to go, my father told me, well, I guess you need a watch because you need to know when you have to be there. So he took off his watch and said, take this watch, now don't lose it. I'm going to kill you if you lose it. Well, guess what I did? I lost it, exactly. So I went to a public bath. You know, in China way back then, there was no private bath at home. So you're going for an interview, so you want to look, smell good, right? So I went to a public bath and didn't listen to my parents. I shouldn't take my watch with me, but I was so excited. Never had a watch in my life before. So I put it on and I went to the public bath. And when I was washing my hair, I take off the watch and put it down there. And when I look up, it was gone. So now I'm more nervous. So of course flunked the oral exam, you know, interview. So I didn't go the first year. So I went, told my master what happened. And my master said, don't worry, you must have done something really good because you forgot your name. So 5 out of 6 tests, you still made it to the second round. And I said, how did you figure that one out? He said, you go figure. You need 6 tests to average up to make it a cut. You only had a 5, and you still made a cut. That means you're pretty good. And I said, oh, yeah, you're right. I didn't think of it. I was all nervous. And he said, let's try next year. I said, you kidding me? I barely made it this year. How could I make it next year? He said, don't tell your parents. I said, no, I needed their signature. He said, didn't you get one this year? I said, yeah. He said, let's fake it for next year. So he faked my parents' signature, and I went the next year, and that's how I made it. I made it to the college. When I arrived there, a class of 184, I was at the very bottom because I taught English myself. So 2.5 months later, I wrote my master in the factory a letter, and I said, it's too hard. I can't make it. Can I come back? And back then, there was no cell phone for those of you who were born into that age. There is not even telephone in home. So you write letters. So I wrote a letter to my master, and my master wrote a letter 1 sentence back. No, there is nothing for you here. So that sort of put me right on the spot. You stick it out, you do what you need to do. So needless to say, when your back is against the wall, guess what you do? You give all you've had. So I graduated top of the class, and that put me, earned me a spot to become a faculty member in that university. Now think about that, coming from a textile factory, you know, family, to become a university professor. That's something. That is absolutely something. But I didn't do it by myself. I didn't do it by myself. I had this unsung hero of my factory master. He passed away, bless his heart. And so I'm sure he's more than proud for what I have accomplished. But he saw something in me. So all of you, the young people in the audience, find someone that believes in you, that will cheer you on, and you can become somebody. You absolutely can. And now let me talk a little bit about how did I come to the United States. When I graduated from university, I was dating somebody, and that person is in Beijing University. I'm in the south, and he's in the north. Back then, you can't text each other. You can't Facebook each other. You know, you have to see each other. So we were seeing each other twice a year. And that was difficult for us. So I asked the university president if I could be transferred. In my mind, I teach in this university. Can I teach in Beijing University? Wouldn't that make easier for us? You know, it doesn't make a difference. The president said, no. your education is free because we educate you. Now you have to work for us for 5 years before we allow you to go anywhere. I said, oh, okay. But maybe there's another way. Now this is the secret. Don't ever let whatever happened in front of you stop you. When you're told you have to wait for 5 years, think about something else that you can do and to overcome that hurdle. So I proposed to the president, I said, what if I take a test to go? And he said, what test? You just graduated. I said, take a test to go to graduate degree program. He said, you want to go study again? Because way back then, master degree was the highest degree in China. And to go to the best university in your country as a female is really, really unheard of. So I said, yeah, take a test. He said, all right, here's the deal. You teach full load, you do all the work you're supposed to be doing, and you review on your own spare time. And by the way, you only have 2 months to prepare. I said, good, 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 good. I'll take it. So I took it, and I have to say, I lived inside of my mosquito net, because as a young faculty, you share with 4 other young faculty in one room. So you can't really study. Everybody is in your face. So I just closed my mosquito net, and I made a home inside my bed, and I reviewed the textbook for 2 months. I have to say, I put on like 25 pounds, because you don't do anything. You just sit there and you just read, you know, you just read and you just read. So I barely made it. I made it at last into the class. It's a class of 8 people. So a country of more than 1 billion people, and there are only 8 seats. So you go for the test. So when I arrived there, everybody asked me, oh, where's your father? And I said, my father? What's the matter about my father? My father is back home. I said, oh, so where's your mother? My mother was my father. And I said, so who, you know, how did you get here? And that's when I realized that go to Beijing University is a connection thing. You have to have a connection. So everybody else in my class has an uncle, a mother, a sister, a brother, a father who works or teaches at Beijing University, and I'm the only person who's from outside. I said, oh, this is going to be very interesting. No one's going to be talking to me, and everybody probably expects me to fail. So I said, okay, I better get started fast. So I started to think about my dissertation, what I'm going to write about, before anybody else even thinking about it. So I graduated first in my class. So again, when somebody says to you, no, you can't do it, or you have to do it that way, question that. Why? Why cannot I do it another way? And so those people, young, still have a lot of years ahead of you. There's your chance to think how you want your future to be. And you should be the driver, not somebody else. From Beijing University, how did I get to the United States? By now you probably get a sense I'm not like very obedient, right? A little bit disobedience is in me. So for those of you who were born a long time ago, remember Chinese women's volleyball team made Asian championship in the 1987. When that happened, Deng Xiaoping, how many of you have heard of the name Deng Xiaoping? Raise your hand. So many of you heard. He came out and started the political reform and economic reform in Shenzhen, in China. And his famous saying is, he doesn't care whether it's black cat or white cat. As long as it catches the mouse, it's a good cat. That's his theory, how to modernize the Chinese economy. So we liked his economic policies to revitalize China. But politically, he was still very conservative. very communist, very Mao's, and he doesn't allow people to speak freely. So I don't know how many of you know that university students, particularly those Ivy League university students, are very politically aggressive and democratic, and they like to kind of raise challenges to the authority. So the Beijing University students are no different than any other famous universities around the world. Beijing University students are famous for challenging the regime. And so a group of us decided to protest on the campus. And the way to protest, we can't call out the Deng Xiaoping names because we know that's politically suicidal. But Xiaoping, for those of you who are Chinese in the audience, rhymes up with the small bottle. So Xiaoping, so we start to throw those Xiaopings from second, third, and fourth floor of our dormitory. When each bottle hits the ground, it creates a crashing sound. And so if you have hundreds of bottles throwing, it makes a lot of noise. And that is our way protesting the regime. And the authority wasn't happy about that, but yeah, they just sent in cleaning crew and sweep up the glasses, and that was it. Then I said to myself, this is not good. So we start to write those little pieces of paper protesting. And the first thing we did is we posted on the bulletin board. I don't know, I don't see any bulletin board here, but in university campus we have student bulletin boards. So we post those things on the bulletin boards. Before I knew it, people were responding. How many of you remember Tiananmen Square massacre? They called it Democracy Wall. There were all these bulletin stuff. Oh, it started on Beijing University campus. So then it was all over the campus, on the ground, on the trees, when the wall ran out of the space, all over. Then a group of us, bless you, said, maybe we should march so we can get the people outside of our university to join us. So we start marching towards Tiananmen Square. And you know, we got to push back really fast. They locked us down. The university campus has 4 gates, so they locked down the gates, so we couldn't leave. And then one night, a small group of us saying to ourselves, well, gee, by midnight, the guards are asleep. No one is watching. Maybe we can climb over the wall and then just get out. So that's what we did. And then we marched towards Tiananmen Square. About 30 miles there, we got to push back. The police came and all that stuff. So that was the prelude to Tiananmen massacre. So that year, it so happens my ex-husband was a visiting scholar in the U.S. So several of us said to me, I have a perfect excuse to leave the country now before it gets ugly. So they told me to get out before it's too late. I came as a visitor to my spouse at that time. And so I arrived in the United States January 28th of 1989. So massacre happened that summer, June the 4th. So I was here before the real massacre began. And I was protected by the Bush Senior through administrative order, so I get a green card right away. And then when Bill Clinton sworn in later that year, he turned that administrative order into the law, signed it into the law. So I was automatically granted the privilege to be a U.S. citizen. But for years, I didn't take advantage of that. I remain a green card holder, as they say, permanent resident, not a citizen, because I didn't want to give up my Chinese citizen. In China, till this day, there's no dual citizenship. You either are Chinese or you are not. I was not allowed to visit China until 2000. My first visit to China, I told my president back then in Westchester, I said, if I call you from China and tell you everything is great, I'm in deep trouble. Come get me. Help me out. And he looked at me. He said, you really sure you want to go to China like that? I said, I have to try. I'm being invited officially by a university president. So that should mean something, but you never know in China. So I landed at the airport, and from that point on, I was escorted by 2 Secret Service my whole time there, including the time I visited the Great Wall with my brother. And I jokingly said to my brother, don't you feel great? We have escort. And he laughed. So, so that's how I came to this country. And how did I become the college president? Again, with the help of a lot of people. I applied. First, before I applied, my then husband, now ex-husband, told me smart people go to school of medicine, law school, business school. Stupid people go to school of education. So I want to prove to him I was smart, right? So against my own wish, I went to Yale Law School. I stayed there for a whole semester, and I was miserable. So during the final exam of constitutional law, it's a 5-hour exam. 3 hours later, I really, really felt that this is not for me, and I really, really didn't want to stay. So I stood up, and I walked out the room. Everybody in the room thought I was so smart that I finished the exam earlier than anybody else. And then I started to apply for School of Education. And I went to the public library, picked the 10 top School of Education. I write a letter of application to them, and then I get a package from each one of them. And they all ask for application fees between $45 to $75. At that time, I was working at McDonald's, and they pay $4 some cents an hour way back then. I couldn't afford to pay the application fees. So I wrote a letter back to all of them and saying, I'm a poor international student. Can you waive the application fees? Guess what all these schools say to me? No. They said, no. Once we accept you, we'll help you out, but you got to pay up front to apply. Except one school says yes. Take a guess which school is that? That was Harvard. So I actually tell everybody by default, I went to Harvard. It was a choice made by someone else, not me. And so after I got in, I wrote them a letter again and say, oh, great, you admit me, but I have no money. How could I come? And they say, not to worry. We have blind admissions. And I said, what's that? They said, we don't care whether you can pay for it. If we think you're good enough, we help you. I said, what do you mean by helping me? They said, we waive your tuition. I said, oh, good. So I was excited. I thought I'm going. Then I found out I was pregnant with my second child. So my then husband said to me, well, you have a choice. We stay married, you be the mother, or we get divorced if you go to Harvard. So guess what I did? I went to Harvard. Well, I didn't go the first year. I told him it will be good if he applies and we go together. So he said, I already applied twice. I'm not going to try the third time. I said, I'll help you. Let's try one more time. So he tried the third time. He got declined the third time. And I reapplied it the following year, and I got readmitted. So at that time, I told him, I really want to go. And he told me, you're on your own. So between March 26th, I gave birth to my second child, to August 31st. I worked in a store called Enterprise in Flushing, New York, owned by two men, an Iranian man and a Chinese man, and neither one of them speak English, so they couldn't talk to each other. So they are looking for someone who speaks English to help their business, and they found me. So I worked for them, and I saved every penny. So by the time August 31st came, I had my 2 kids. I have $7,000 in the bank from the work I made in the enterprise. They sell Maytag washing machine parts. What do I know about Maytag? Nothing, but I can't speak English. So I sold all these washers and bolts and nuts and stuff, asked people what size you need, how many you need. I think I couldn't do that. And I made money and I saved them. So off I went to Harvard, and that's how I went there. How does that relate to my today's journey? We had a course at Harvard called College Presidency. Trust me, I wasn't thinking about college president at that time. But the professor invited all the presidents, man, woman, minority, non-minority, retired, still working presidents to come to speak. And there was this one woman, African and American woman, community college president, came to speak to the class. I've never heard about community colleges before. So she talked about open door policy. She talked about how we help everyone. And I'm listening to this. This is fascinating. It's like my life story. So I walked up to her and said, hey, Dr. Brown, can I interview you for my term paper? She quickly gave me the business card. Oh, sure, come to my office. I went to her office, and we sat down, and she starts to ask me questions. I thought, oh, maybe she wants to get to know me a little bit. The next thing you know, we talked for 2 hours, 40 minutes. I didn't get asked one question. It was all her asking me questions. So finally I said, Dr. Brown, but I haven't asked you any questions. I need to write my paper. When can I ask you questions? She said, oh, don't worry, you'll come back. And I said, can I come back? She said, yes, yes, yes. I went back the following week, and she had some paper on her desk when I sat down. She said, now, before we begin the interview, now sign this contract. And I said, oh, I did not know I have to sign the contract for an interview. She said, no, 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 you're going to work for me. I said, what? She said, you're going to be my special assistant. And I said, to do what? She said, to be in charge of shared governance and accreditation. And I said, what's that? She said, don't worry. I said, why? I don't know anything you want me to do, and why did you hire me? She said, yeah, it's true, you don't know anything I need you to do, but that's easy, I can teach you, but you have something I want. And I said, what is that? She said, you think out of the box. I'm looking right, I'm looking left, and I said, where is the box? And she said, oh, this is exactly what I'm talking about. I said, well, good. You know what you're talking about because I have no clue. So that's how I got hired to work in the community colleges. And then I went back to my Harvard advisor, and I said, guess what? I got a job before I graduated. And my professor said, don't go there. I said, why? I got a job. And I work for the president. He said, you'll be trapped. And I'm, again, I'm new to this country. I don't know those idiomatic expressions. So I said, what do you mean by that? And he said, never mind. Because he doesn't want to explain to me that, the Harvard professors view community colleges as a second-class kind of thing, And so he doesn't want to explain that to me, but he basically told me, you don't want to go. But I said, I want to go. He said, okay, fine. Go there for 1 year and get hell out. Well, that was 1993. And 23 years later, I'm still working in the community college, and I actually love it. Because community college stands for the true value, what this country stands for. And that brings me the joy to talk to you about diversity and ethnicity and the cultural backgrounds. By now you all know this was not the place I was born, but it is the place to allow me to be who I am and who I want to be. I was born in a country that demands conformity. And I grow up in a country that celebrates individuality. And this country needs more diversity. Embracing it, respecting it is not good enough for me. We need to absolutely, absolutely celebrate the very values that make America, America. I want to challenge all of you just to close your eyes for a second. Imagine a world without color, without sound. What will the world be? No sound, no color. How many of you are artists? Draw, paint, or write things? Okay. Imagine you only have one color at your disposal. That's white. Make artwork. What your artwork will look like? You have one color to work with. True, you can have texture, but how much can you bring to the world? Your artistic imagination and creativity will be severely limited if you only have one color to work with. How many of you are musicians, singers, or music lovers? Good. Imagine you can only sing one note. One note. Whatever the note that is in. You cannot use different notes. Can you be a great musician? No. Now imagine further. Would you like to listen to yourself? Or would you rather listen to someone who is different, who has different ideas, who has different experiences, who have different beliefs? I also want you to imagine, can you imagine yourself eating the same food for breakfast, lunch, dinner, Monday through Sunday, 365 days a year? You will throw up, won't you? But why? Why do we want to not like people or judge against the people who are different from us, who think differently, who act differently, who dress differently, who likes different things? Why? Wouldn't you be blessed that you have the varieties? So, to me, diversity should be regarded essential, not tolerated, essential as the air we breathe, the water we drink. Can you imagine to live without air? If you are out of air for 35 seconds, you will suffer significant brain damage, if not death. So why? Why would you not embrace diversity? Why would you not celebrate diversity? Diversity makes our life rich. Diversity makes this nation what it is. I came from a country that has a history of over 4,000 years of civilization. This country has less than 400 years of its history. Why you think a young nation is leading the world while the 4,000 years old country is trailing? Precisely diversity. Because China has 56 nationalities. How many of you know that? Good. Not everybody in China look like me, but that's the world perception of Chinese. They think all Chinese look like me. No. only 92% of the Chinese 1.3 billion people look like me. The other 8% people look like Russian, Pakistani, Burmese, Vietnamese, Korean, Japanese, because it's surrounding countries, all right? They all look very different. They dress very differently. Many of them dress just like Indians. Many of them dress just like Iranians. In fact, those nationalities eat very similar foods. But the Chinese government view that is border unrest. They need all to be brought in to conform. And that is why kept that great nation in a cage, cannot be developed at its potential. So I urge all of us to embrace the diversity, not because we want to be nice, but as our own very own existence, our very own survival, our very own thrival depends on diversity. So thank you very much for having me, and have a great time.
Thank you again to Dr. Wang. I don't know whose picture is currently in the dictionary next to perseverance, but I think it needs to be replaced with her picture. Anyway, so we're going to now have a very quick handing off of some scholarships, some Diversity Day scholarships to a couple of our students from the area. And I'm going to hand it off to Mr. Shi here in just a second to make those announcements. And then we'll start with the events. And so, Mr. Shi.
Well, first of all, time is getting short. Well, it is my pleasure to be here. As Dr. Wang says, is a diversity. So I'm very happy to be here as one of the diversity. Okay, today it is my honor to be here on behalf of Yuan Yuan Group. The Yuan Yuan Group is a very private, non-profit organization to promote the Chinese culture in this area. So we have involved many different kind of activities. And today we'd like to present a scholarship to the two students in the high school in this area, because they are very much effort, make a lot of effort to involve the Chinese activities. The first one is Camellia Wu. Could Camellia come forward? Camellia Wu was born in China, and at the age of 6, her family moved to Canada, and at the age of 12, moved to the United States again, obviously settled down in Lawrenceville. That was about 5 years ago. And in this 5 years, she has been very much doing excellent in academic performance, and also very active in the extracurriculum. Let me just give a very short introduction about what she has done in school. She is an officer of International Medical Organization, a member of the STEM Club, a member of the International Alliance, a member of National Honor Society. So you can see a lot of activities. And in those organizations, she has involved a fundraiser, promote science in the community, and participate in the annual cultural festival, and also tutor students in the foreign language, in economics, in mathematics, in physics. Quite a lot of varieties. And outside of the school, she has been a volunteer in library, a volunteer in senior center, in the summer camp, and also a Sunday school teacher. So based on those informations, she really encouraged the youth to participate different kind of varieties, because those experience is very good. It's not just only enjoyable, it's also very enlightening. So, and it is my honor to present the scholarship. And in the coming fall, she is going to Cornell University, is that right? Yes. So it is very good to have her here. And the next student we are going to introduce is Andrew Shea. Andrew is a senior at the Steiner High School, that is at Hamilton Township. Andrew has been practicing Chinese yo-yo since he was third grade. And not just only that, she also teach the yo-yo in the past 4 years. And especially, he also very excellent in academic. He is the first in the class and also very active in extracurricular activities. Let me just give you some example. He is the president of the math club and also the president of the science club in school, an active member of kid club, volleyball club, and actually he is a captain of the Steiner boys varsity tennis teams. And in the coming fall, he is going to Rutgers, major in pharmacy. So today we are very happy to present the scholarship to these two outstanding students on behalf of Yuan Yuan Group. And now I'd like to ask Dr. Wang to come forward to present the scholarship to the two students. The first one is Camelia Wu, and the next one is Andrew Shea. Okay.
The Human Relations Committee is very grateful to have these two kids here. They have been volunteer for many, many years. I'm so shocked because we're not going to have them anymore. So we are going to give you a certificate of excellence for doing this volunteer work. So let me see which diploma is. That's Camelia Wu got a diploma for all the work she has been helping with diversity every year, and besides the senior center also. So now is Andrew, because he made me remember my youth. I used to play the yo-yo, and nobody knew what a yo-yo was when I came to this country. So here is a diploma for Andrew, because he is excellent in the yo-yo art. And here we're going to give you a diploma to Dr. Wang for being our keynote speaker. She was very grateful to accept to be our keynote speaker. When I called the school, they said, sure, she will be glad to do it. Thank you very much.
Ready? All right, so we're going to start with the entertainment portion of the day, and actually Andrew is going to be our first act up. If you've been to some of our diversity days before, you'll recognize Andrew, who does some amazing things with the Chinese yo-yo. Now he really wanted to have a fire pit set up with a rope, but the fire marshal said no to that, so just have to do something a little less low tech, a little more low tech. All right, here we go. All right, big hand for Andrew. Those of you that have been here before, you see he's kind of upped his game tremendously over the years, so a lot of new tricks there. All right, thank you, Andrew. He's ready, okay. All right, now to do some Chinese oration, Kavya Satish from the Dutch Neck School is going to perform for us. Welcome to Kavya. A big hand for Kavya, please.
Hi, my name is Kavya Satish. Today I'm going to say a speech in Chinese about how I wanted a pet, but my mom didn't agree, and instead I ended up raising money for animals. 你好，我的名字是诗英。今天我要和大家分享一个让我非常开心的经验。2年前，当我还是7岁的时候，我很想要养一只狗，但是我的妈妈不允许，因为妈妈认为我还太小，没办法照顾一只狗。当我发现在动物收容所里有很多无家可归的狗和猫时，我想去那儿当义工， 这样就可以在不需养育条件下拥有一只宠物。可惜我年纪太小，不能当义工。于是我又想要我可以为收容所母看鸟。我决定开一个展览会，展示我收集的矿石和恐龙模型来为收容所母看。我的家人也非常兴奋地帮忙准备。我的姐姐帮我写了一张展览目录，我们还写了矿石开谜游戏和恐龙名称玩的。此外，我们决定收入场费1元，并且邀请朋友们来参加。展览当天，妈妈买门票，姐姐提供点心，会陪着来宾参观我的展览并且回答问题。我们还设了一个展场上，让宾客自由展看。展览结束时，我们一共募集了65元呢。那个周末，当我8000张个的收容所时，心里很高兴，因为我不但帮助那些无家可归的我们，同时也得到以有趣又令我开心的经验。谢谢大家。
Wow, 8 years old. How about that? That was beautiful. Chinese from Kavya. We have a diploma for her from the Diversity Day folks. Thank you, Kavya. And if you weren't clear, that was her recipe for sweet and sour pork she was reciting. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so next up for our entertainment is a regular here at Diversity Day. Those of you who know from the Senior Center, Kool-Aid over the years has been working with a number of folks to do some Hawaiian dancing. So I'm going to hand it over to Rose, and she'll tee up the agenda for Kool-Aid's Hawaiian dancers.
Thank you. Aloha! It's great to be back for Diversity Day, where we all come together. We want to dedicate our first number to our wonderful, beloved hula teacher who just passed away. Her name is Kool-Aid Leiden. The first dance that we do, we are dedicating to Kool-Aid. And this is a dance that her mother taught her when she was a child. And I hope you enjoy it. It's called Hawaiian in Me.
Hawaiian in me, I love to sing and dance for you, and give a lay to cheer you through, and with that goes a kiss or two. That's a Hawaiian in me. It's great to be in Hawaii and to be a native too, but it's greater still to play around and carry on as I do. So right out here in Hawaii, where everything is heavenly, I'm just as happy as can be. That's a Hawaiian in me. It's great to be in Hawaii and to be a native too, but it's greater still to play around and carry on as I do. So right out here in Hawaii, where everything is heavenly, I'm just as happy as can be. That's the Hawaiian in me. That's the Hawaiian in me. Tiny bubbles in the wine, makes me feel fine. Tiny bubble make me warm all over with a feeling that I'm gonna love you till the end of time. So here's to the golden moon, and here's to the silver sea, but mostly here's a toast to you and me. Tiny bubble in the wine, makes me happy, makes me feel fine. Tiny bubble makes me warm all over with a feeling that I'm gonna love you till the end of time. Ooh, a leaky, eagle mine eye. Oh, I know tiny bubbles make me warm all over with a feeling that I'm gonna love you till the end of time. With a feeling that I'm gonna love you till the end of time.
When you hear sweet music, soft and low, you can swing it right, swing it left, swing all around, and do the hula-lo-lo. And a sweet brown maiden, room spinning no. You can swing it right, swing it left, swing all around, and do the hula-lo-lo. When the moon is shining in Hawaii, you can dance to the strain of Alakoki and the if you don't believe me, you can go where the swing it right, swing it left, swing all around, and do the hula-lo-lo. Shining in Hawaii, you can dance to the swing of Alakoki and the if you don't believe me, you can go where the swing is right, swing is left, swing all around, and do the hula-lo-lo. I'm afraid the hula on the lo-lo.
All right, how about a big hand for Kool-Aid's Hawaiian dancers, a regular at this event. All right, we have our Chinese folk dancers from the area going to be doing a Chinese folk dance for us, and then I'll preview of what else is coming up. Right after they're done, one of the tables has some raffle tickets that they're going to be pulling, so if you have a raffle ticket, they have some prizes to give away. Then we have some folks from the Islamic Center are going to do a call for prayer, a skit, and a poem for us. And then we'll be wrapping up the entertainment with a couple of singers, Nathaniel Sobers and an Eleanor Anderson. So.
La
起，涧水阿里山的姑娘美如谁呀？阿里山的少年壮如山。阿里山的姑娘美如谁呀？阿里山的少年壮如山。冈山长青。
All right, big hand for our Chinese folk dancing ladies. Thank you. All right, we're going to do the raffle now. And just so you know, those that are interested, I'll be doing bingo at Our Lady of Grace later this week. No, just kidding. We're going to have come up now with Dr. Shazia Shah and her group are going to show us some things from the Islamic culture, including a call to prayer, a short skit, and a poem. We're starting with the poem.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to Diversity Day. We're here representing the Islamic Circle of Mercer County. And I just want to thank all of you for being here and joining us as our friends and neighbors, and also everyone with the cultural committee, the police department, of course our mayor, our freeholder, our MC. Thank you so much for this invitation. So we'll start with our call to prayer. If you ever visit a Muslim country or go to a mosque, which is our masjid, we usually have the call to prayer 5 times a day. So we'll have the call to prayer by Jibril Shah. He's in 4th grade. He's 10 years old.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu anna la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadur Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadur Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah, hayya ala falah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah.
Thank you so much, Jibril. And now we'll have the translation for the Islamic call to prayer. Just so everyone knows, this is in Arabic. The call to prayer throughout the world, in every Islamic country, the call is in Arabic. However, we'll have a translation in English so you all know exactly what we're doing if you ever hear this. This is Mikhail Shah. He's 12 years old. He's in 7th grade.
God is the greatest of all. 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 I testify that there is none worthy of worship but God. I testify there is none worthy of worship but God. I testify that Muhammad is the messenger of God. I testify that Muhammad is the messenger of God. Hasten toward prayers, hasten toward prayers, hasten toward success, hasten toward success. God is the greatest of all, God is the greatest of all. There is none worthy of worship besides God.
Thank you. Thank you, Mikhail. Next, we will be performing a small skit from Brother Abdul Basit.
Hello. I'm not a performer, so it's not going to be a skit. I just wanted actually to talk briefly, to touch on the concept of stereotypes. You know, we all deal with those. Maybe those of us who have never left this country may not feel it as much as those who leave their countries and go to other places and so on. So I actually have been in this country for a long time, 30 years. I love it, and I love many things about the country here, many things about the people, even though I'm still getting used to the American people's concept of geography. When someone asked me where I was from, and I told them I was from Palestine, and that's a small place in the Middle East. And then this person said to me, oh yeah, I know some people from India. So I was actually thinking like, wait. So then I thought about it. It's just like if one of us goes to Asia and they're asked, where are you from? And they say, from the US. And then someone says, oh, I know someone from Panama or Peru or something like that. But anyways, I definitely like this place. I just thought of, since we are here, a few of us representing the Muslim community, and we have someone who's going to come after me and do a poem. This will be sort of like a segue to that. We have been attending for the past 4 years, I believe. The difference between last year and this year for us is that now, between last year and this year, we have opened the center that's on Lawrence Station Road. If anyone has seen it, if you haven't, it will be a good way, like when you pass by and just see. It's actually a beautiful building, which actually is going to be much appreciated by our community. I know you have been hearing a lot about us recently, especially in the presidential campaign, because we seem to be a favorite topic of some candidates, right? You heard about us. So I hope that I hope you're learning good things. We've opened the center. By next year, there will be a new president. So based on who that president will be, we don't know if that center will still be on Lawrence Station Road or will be moved to Canada. So we hope it will stay here though. And we hope we'll be here next year. If we're not, you will know where we are. One thing about the center actually, because Dr. Shah mentioned that we pray 5 times a day, it's really, it becomes handy for many of us who are in the area, you know, especially some people who are at Quaker Bridge Mall. They come from South Brunswick or maybe south of here or somewhere, and it's time for the prayer. Sometimes they don't know what to do. So now the center is just around the corner. They come and they do their prayer, and they go and back and finish shopping. So one of my friends was at the mall and wanted to do his prayer. So, you know, where to go? He actually went out to the parking lot, and next to his car, he started praying. Now, if you've ever seen a Muslim praying, we kneel down and we actually prostrate on the floor as part of the prayer. So he was doing that, and someone came and said to him, "Is your muffler okay?" So of course, we take it lightly. At least, people, are accepting to that. Well, the other thing, some people don't feel comfortable going out to the parking lot. So inside the mall, they feel uncomfortable praying in front of everybody. So some people go into the change room or the changing room to do their prayer. But now we're on the floor and someone is next door, what will they think? So having the center actually close by is a great thing. I just want to finish with something about the stereotypes. I do urge everybody to go beyond the stereotypes. I think I'm preaching to the choir here, but for the young, I think it's important because they put a barrier between us. If we just stop at the stereotype, we may not go too far. One of my friends who actually is from this country did study abroad in Spain, fully looking American. So the Spanish family that hosted her insisted on the first day to search her luggage because they wanted her to take the gun out. They thought that every American travels with a gun. So you can imagine, that's a stereotype out there, but it really, puts a barrier, as I said, in front of others. I'll just tell you a stereotype that I actually dealt with personally. When I first came to this country, before I came, as I was getting ready, I was looking at a magazine, and they had a picture of an American woman in California standing by the highway, and she had a sign, it says, "Come and marry me." And underneath the picture, they said, "Marriage the American way." So I was young, in high school, and I said, interesting how Americans do things. So I come here, and then my friend calls me, and he says, "So have you gotten married?" I said, "Well, I haven't seen anyone by the road asking so far." So anyways, I can go on and on, but I think we're very happy to be part of this community. We don't feel uncomfortable at all, even though we know people who are from our faith in other parts of the country who are not feeling comfortable because of the dynamics that are happening there. So we thank you for having us today. And we actually, the center soon, I think over the summer, maybe in July or August sometime, they will be doing an open house for everybody to come in and be greeted and have some nice food. So you will hear about that, and you're all welcome to come over when that happens. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brother Abdul Basit, for that. Next, we'll have a poem by Nawal Mubin, who's a freshman at TCNJ, the College of New Jersey, regarding hijab. Hijab is the covering that women, Muslim women, usually, if they cover their head, that scarf is called a hijab. And it's really a personal choice. It's not that anyone is forcing them. It's just whether you like to wear a jacket or a short sleeve shirt is the same way we prefer to wear hijab. But I'll allow Nawal to read the poem.
So through this poem, I'm just trying to talk about how it feels to be a covering Muslim in America. And I know not everyone has negative feelings towards Muslims, but when it's what you see mostly on the news and media, it's hard to feel otherwise. My poem is called Just Like You. I wake up, I brush my teeth, I eat breakfast, I get ready, just like you would. I go to my classes, one by one, I eat lunch, just like you would. But the thing is, while I do the same as you, I am not like you. You see, while I get ready, I have an extra step to my routine. I put a scarf on my head, and that makes all the difference. I wake up, I brush my teeth, I eat breakfast, I get ready, but not like you would. I put a scarf on my head, and that is why you fear me. That is why as I walk down the street, I get stares and comments. That is why people judge me before they even know me. And that is why I sit and wonder, had I done my routine without this extra step, would you still fear me? Would you stare at me and make comments? Would you judge me before knowing me? You see, I am not everything you see on your TVs. I am not everything you see on your screens. And all of this makes me wonder why. Why this piece of cloth makes you see a difference. Because of this piece of cloth, you think I am different than you. But the truth is, under it all, I am just like you. Thank you.
Thank you, Noel, very much for that. So our masjid, ICMC, Islamic Center of Mercer County, is on Lawrence Station Road. And we will be having an open house, and we welcome all of you, our friends and neighbors. Please come and visit us. Please join us. Thank you for the invitation. Rich, back to you.
Thank you, Dr. Shah. All right, we have 2 singers left to wrap up our event. And the first one, singing a gospel song, Oh Happy Day, all the way from New York City. Give it up for Nathaniel Sobers.
Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. When Jesus washed. When Jesus washed. When Jesus washed. He washed my sins away. Oh, happy day. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. When Jesus washed. When Jesus washed. When my Jesus washed. He washed my sins away. Oh, happy day. He taught me how to wash, fight and pray, fight and pray, and live rejoicing every day. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. When Jesus washed. When my Jesus washed. When Jesus washed my sins away. I'm talking about the happy day. He taught me how to watch, fight and pray, fight and pray, and
you.
Wow. Wow. Test, test, test. Wow, that's quite a voice in there, huh? Just 11 years old. That's pretty powerful. All right, we got a little thank you for Nathaniel. Thanks for coming out today. We appreciate it. All the way from New York City. Give it up again for Nathaniel. All right. And our last singer today, Eleanor Anderson. You're going to be doing some Italian. All right, here we go. Give it up for Eleanor.
The autumn leaves street by my window. The autumn leaves are red and gold. I see your lips, the summer kisses, the sunburned hand I used to hold. Since you went away, the days grow long. I'm soon I'll hear a winter song. But I miss you most of all, my darling. When autumn leaves start to fall. They asked me how I knew my true love was true. I of course replied, something here inside cannot be denied. They said someday you'll find all who love are blind. When your heart's on fire, you must realize smoke gets in your eyes. So I check them and I gaily laugh to think they could doubt my love. Yet today my love has gone away and I'm without my love. Now laughing friends deride tears I cannot flame dies, smoke gets in your eyes. Crazy, crazy for feeling so lonely. I'm crazy, crazy for feeling so blue. I knew you'd love me as long as you wanted, and then someday you'd leave me for somebody new. Worry, why do I let myself worry? What in the world did I do? Oh, crazy. I'm thinking that my love could hold you. I'm crazy for trying, crazy for crying, and I'm crazy for loving you. Crazy, I'm crazy for feeling so lonely. I'm crazy for trying, crazy for crying, and I'm so crazy for loving you. Memory, like the corners of my mind. Misty watercolor memory of the way we were. Scattered pictures, all the smiles we left behind. Smiles we gave to one another. For the way we were. Can it be that it was all so simple then? Or has time rewritten every line? If we had the chance to do it all again, tell me, would we? Could we? Memories may be beautiful and yet what's too painful to remember, we simply choose to forget. So is the laughter. We will remember whenever we remember the way we were. The way we Deep of wine and roses, laugh and run away like a child with play. Through the meadowland toward a closing door, a door marked nevermore that wasn't there before. The night discloses, just a passing breeze, filled with memories of the golden smile that introduce me to all the days of wine and roses and you. Lovely is the sea around me, like your deep blue eyes that dancing wakes my memories entrancing, starts me dreaming dear view. Blossoms wave a beckoning finger, and the traveler wants to linger where the sky is always blue. Do you see we must be parted, laughing proudly, not believing that you leave us, sweetheart, grieving, and you break our heart, that's true. Oh, my dearest love, come back to old Sorrento. I'm longing night and day when you're far away. I could have danced all night. I could have danced all night and still have begged for more. I could have spread my wings and done 1,000 things I've never done before. I never know what makes it so exciting when all at once my heart will fly. I only know when he began to dance with me. I could have danced, danced, danced.
I want to thank you very much for this event. You were perfect. You made this event the best ever Diversity Day. Was no stress. Went like clockwork. Excellent. Thank you very much.